Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Untold. We're going to dive into both art and a little bit of psychology with our guest Yasmeen Alrefai, who is an artist and psychology student. I'm Nujain Al-Athari, and I'm with Saad Al-Azmi. Saad, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much, Lujain. How are you?
I'm good. What do you think about the subject of today's episode?
Actually, the mixture between psychology and art, this subject is interesting already. So we will talk with Yasmeen, and she will tell us about her journey, how to become a psychologist and also an artist.
I think you're right, and I think there's a lot of similarities between the two, like you said. I'm curious to see how Yasmeen is pursuing her art, as well as dealing with a degree like psychology, because it's not an easy degree to have as well. There's a lot of studying, a lot of time involved. But I do love art, and art itself also expresses humanity. So I think psychology does the same. So I'm curious to see what she has to say about the subject.
I think the philosophy of mixing two fields together eventually will provide something interesting, as I said, and Yasmeen, she's the one who will tell us her story.
I agree. And with that, we are going to go on a short break and come back with Yasmeen and find out exactly how her artistic journey has gone. And we're back on The Untold with Yasmeen Alrefai, who's an artist and psychology student. Yasmeen, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, it's wonderful to have you here. We're doing well. How are you doing, Saad?
I'm doing good, and I hope Yasmeen also doing good. You as well, Lujain. Today we will talk about an artistic subject, which is our subject.
Yes, we enjoy the arts. And I thought we could start going back to before you kind of became an artist. I heard that you spent your summers in Kuwait drawing and like enjoying art and sort of, I guess, learning the medium, but from your own, I guess, as a hobby, right? So walk us through that. How was it like for you before it became more of a job, if that makes sense?
It did feel magical when I was first starting out. The time would go by so fast during the summer, and I always wanted to get better though. Like even 8 years old, I would still want to improve always, yeah.
So you always had that like fire inside you, didn't you?
I guess, yeah, you can say.
Well, that's great because I think when we're kids, we all kind of have passions and hobbies and we don't think of it so much. We just enjoy it in the moment and that's what makes it so magical. But what made it a thing that you wanted to pursue as more of a career?
I think it started a bit when I was older, when it was time to decide what I wanted to do with uni and everything. I realized I wasn't drawn to anything, but I couldn't pursue it academically, so I had to do it. I kept doing it alongside my actual degree, which is psychology. Yeah,
and I think, Yasmeen, you didn't get the grade that you hoped for. Tell us about this story, about how this moment affected you.
It actually fueled me a bit more than I was. Of course I was disappointed, but it did fuel me to keep going. I think I'm a bit stubborn, and some people can say that's bad, but I think stubbornness can make me want to prove people wrong. So I wanted to keep going because I felt like my teacher didn't believe in me. So
I think this is the genius factor, because if you did well academically, you go out and maybe you don't have to do as good, no, because this is something actually special for you because you are doing well now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's not easy, by the way. The fact that you pushed yourself, even though you weren't getting the validation you kind of needed at school in the degree that you kind of loved so much, that actually says a lot about you. Because people who pursue what they want regardless, they're the ones who end up succeeding, I think. So what do you think is like the biggest misconception about academic art or validation?
I think when you combine, or when you're in arts academically, you're confined more than you think, because you're given assignments and you can't really, I mean, you can confine creativity, but you don't end up creating for you. You end up creating with the idea of a teacher grading it. So when you leave the academic field in art, I think you're given more freedom and you start creating for you rather than for them.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I do agree with you, because some people think that just because they did well in school in something, they're going to do great later in life. But it's adversity that sometimes pushes you beyond that. I had a friend actually who was really good at art in school, but it was the same as you. She wasn't getting from the teacher the right grades. The teacher was always nitpicking. But if you looked at what she did, it was amazing work. But she also kind of pursued it on the side of a more scientific degree, just like you. So walk us through what happened afterwards, because it may not have gone the way you wanted in school, but you kept pursuing it regardless because it was something you loved. However, I think all of us experienced in 2020 when COVID hit, it disrupted everybody's plans. So what happened to you during that period?
During COVID was also the time I had to stop making art for school because I progressed onto a different year, and something felt missing, like the discipline of creating was missing, and I really felt that. I felt restless. So I had to keep going, and that's when I started pursuing art for me. That's when I started creating for me rather than for assignments.
Well, that makes sense. I think a lot of people during COVID, when they had nothing to do, they had to stay home. They kind of rediscovered their hobbies or different talents because they had to do stuff at home. So I'm glad that you chose that time to kind of focus on your art, because I think it's really shown now how far you've come.
Thank you. And also, I think during COVID, we were consuming so much, so there had to be an outlet. And I think so many people did pick up hobbies during that time. So
yeah, I think everyone was baking banana bread for some reason. That was like the #1 thing trending all over social media, banana bread, banana bread.
So tell us about the COVID times, because I think this is the time for you to be more creative during this time, and you are artistic that way. So what do you think about these times give you the time to think, or let's say rethink your artistic abilities?
It definitely gave me time to explore and gave me time to experiment and time to find my style and just have fun with my art before I went to university. I think that was my peak creating period because we had so much free time during COVID.
Yeah, we did. Do you think that going back to doing it for fun is what really kind of fueled you as well?
Yeah, because it felt like play, and it felt like I was a kid again, you know, like creating felt like play, and it still does feel like play.
I think that's a thing a lot of people say, that when you get older, sometimes you rediscover your passions from when you were a child.
Yeah.
And even I think Picasso, or one of those great artists, said, it took me all of my life to learn how to draw like a kid. And I think there's something in that. There's like childhood innocence and wonder. And I think we always forget that as a kid, we are seeing the world for the first time and experiencing it. And with those fresh eyes, we really get to see life in a different way. So I'm glad you got to find your roots in that again. And like, you didn't let what happened in school stop you from pursuing it.
It makes life more exciting when you view everything as playing. So yeah, and trying to find excitement in little activities in life, yeah, makes life more magical.
Yes. I think this is something about artists, because you should find your own way, especially the taste. When you talk about art, you don't want to copy any other act. Maybe you have some influence, but you should find your own way. Tell us about that journey when you found your own way.
I think I definitely took inspiration from other artists of analyzing their techniques and observing how their process and making it my own, maybe copying them, but never publishing it because it's not my work. But I needed to experiment with and find what worked for me through other artists.
Exactly.
Well, that makes sense, because art is a very individual thing, but also they kind of say that there is no such thing as originality anymore. So it's sort of kind of finding your own flair within it. Like my mom is an artist as well, actually. And throughout her life and career, she experimented with so many different mediums. When she was younger, she mainly drew, turned into painting later on, and now she has her own kind of unique style. So it's very normal, I think, for you to be going through these different phases and finding inspiration in different areas. And you started with just drawing, right?
Yeah, my mom gave me 3 colored pencils once when she was drawing, and it was pink, orange, and blue. And I took a piece of paper and I think I drew a man in a banana suit holding a heart, not the opposite way around. So
okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that was the first time I was like, wow, I love this. Yeah.
And like you find that you could do something with it, that your imagination could go wild and just have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the beauty of art, because art is so subjective, it can be anything. And I also think that, as what you said, like you're still experimenting and finding your styles. So are you only doing drawing now? Because I saw on your Instagram that you also have some acrylic art happening.
I mainly paint and draw, yeah, with colored pencils and just pencils, graphite. And I keep this little pocket journal everywhere with me to just document and keep my hands moving while I'm in university, just to make sure I still got it, you know? Yeah.
So actually, during COVID, I saw that's when you first made an account on social media for the first time. Was that a turning point for you? How did it make you feel about your art emotionally or just in terms of productivity?
It actually pushed me more to make art because it was like, wow, people are seeing this, you know, and I was getting a lot of support from my friends and my family, and it felt like I had an audience at the time. They were my friends and my family, most of my followers, but they pushed me, and I don't think I would have. I think I still would have made, but I don't think I would have created at this volume and kept practicing and kept wanting to get better, I think, if I wasn't documenting. It's more, I think, documentation rather than anything, just documentation over anything.
Now let's ask about your studies. You also studied psychology, specifically child and adolescent mental health. How does that affected your academic understanding of emotions and development of art?
I think children are really innocent, and they see the world in such a different way, and when you approach a child, you have to really approach them with such care and curiosity, and you almost, when interacting with a child, you become a child yourself, and to an extent, but I kind of adopted that in my artistic practice as well.
Yes.
Approaching art in a childish way or a playful way with curiosity and play.
Yes.
That's awesome, by the way. I actually did my master's in children's literature, so I kind of understand where you're coming from, because kids are kind of the foundation of everything, and the way they absorb things and look at things is completely different than kind of our own jaded experiences, you could say, with
Yes.
life kind of getting to us so much. But kids see everything for the first time. So when they do art, when they do anything, and the way that they think is totally different than how we do it. So I think I've actually noticed a bit of that in your drawings and paintings, that there's a kind of playfulness to them that I don't think would exist maybe without you having the degree as well. Or do you think it affected you well enough to do that?
I think studying psychology has made me think more introspectively and more about my own world, because psychology is the study of humans, and it has affected me because art is very personal as well, so I think they mesh lovely together and very beautifully.
Yes, and I think studying psychology, especially for the children, and being an artist yourself, you can do something for children, especially you lead the way or guide your art towards children, which is something can be really creative. Really.
Yeah, I agree, guys. I think it's a beautiful way to express your creativity, and I love that it can go hand in hand and help you blossom more as an artist.
Yes.
We are going to take a short break though, guys, and then I hope we can discuss this more because it's a really amazing subject. So stay tuned for after the break. And we're back from that short break. So Yasmeen, we were talking about your art and how you studied psychology, and that kind of influenced how you see art as well. And I want to ask you something about how you said you have an account and it's helped you push yourself more in art. But was it difficult to kind of share your art? Because I know for a lot of creatives, there's a lot of vulnerability involved. And sometimes you're your harshest critic. So it's hard to kind of put yourself out there. So how did that feel for you?
When I started sharing, at some point, it didn't feel like it was mine anymore. Like the art I made was not mine anymore. To be honest, I don't know how I reclaimed it. But it just, yeah, it was very stressful, and it is very vulnerable, I think, and I think it is very vulnerable, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually really bad at posting myself. Saad is a lot better at that. He's all about pushing yourself on social media and trying to get the people to follow, I guess you could say.
Actually, you can be creative, but it takes time, you know? Especially with the social media, how you present yourself over time, you learn from mistakes, and then you come as you wish.
I agree. And about your art, by the way, Do you mainly do self-portraits, or what is the medium you like to follow?
Yeah, I usually do self-portraits, and I see them as variations of myself rather than me. I don't think they all look the same, and I think I do that deliberately.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you find that makes it easier or harder for you? Because I think for a lot of people, in general in art, if you're writing, if you're painting, you have to use yourself. You have to use your own experiences, your own self, and that's what makes the art more personal. So did you find that it helped you with your art?
Initially, it started because no one would let me take pictures of them for reference pictures. So I would just take pictures of myself. But then it became, and I knew my face. I knew my face like nobody else, and I could kind of warp my face to make it more personal, like more representative of the time that I'm going through, and or like the thing I'm experiencing.
Portraits are the prime genre of creative arts. Especially, you chose the most difficult. Like,
yeah, it was the hardest one, really.
Why did you choose that? Because I think landscape can be easier.
I don't feel like I can represent myself or express myself through landscape or still life. And I think portraiture in general is just how I feel like I can encapsulate how I'm feeling or what I'm going through.
So that's actually a really difficult thing that you're doing. I remember back in school, I would have to do self-portraits, and I found it really difficult, like to get the dimensions right, to kind of see yourself. And it's not easy to see yourself and put it out there. Like, as Saad said, it's easier to have like a landscape, to have an object. But to do yourself, it takes a lot of knowing about yourself. You have to have a lot of self-awareness. So I also want to ask you, like, do you have plans to maybe explore different genres or mediums?
I think I've always wanted to get into oil paints, but because I'm a student and because I'm coming back and forth, it takes so much dedication and time that I don't have, except in the summers, which that's when I usually do try oil paint, but I don't dive deep. Like I don't start a massive piece with oil. So inshallah, when I graduate, I will get into oil paints, yes.
I mean, something I do want to add though, Saad, which is really cool about Yasmeen and her art, is you do everything by hand. Even in this digital age, you're doing like your drawings, you're doing the acrylic, you want to try oil painting. I find that so refreshing because nowadays everyone does the more digital art, and there's a lot of amazing digital art, but I feel like physical art is becoming kind of a lost trade almost. So I just want to say I'm really glad that you're keeping it going and keeping it alive and sharing that journey with people.
Thank you. I think it's very human to still work with your hands. So thank you.
Saad, what do you think about all that? The fact that she does everything by hand and has a pocket journal.
Yes.
Most people, I think, don't even carry journals anymore. So what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, something about sketches and something about the artist, how they show us the way. Sometimes you need a musician or a painter to show you something that beyond your imagination. And I think it's important to have these actually, and to look them and to see through the artists themselves.
I think so. And Yasmeen, I love that you have a pocket journal, you carry it everywhere, because I think that more people should do that and just be able to scribble or do whatever art. And as you said, find the beauty in the everyday. That's something so wonderful, especially in a world where the media kind of tries to bring you down sometimes. So I love that you try to notice little details. So tell us more about your pocket journals. What do you like to do in them?
They're usually accumulations of my days. I'll take pictures throughout the day of just random things, typography and little cars that look beat down and run down. Chairs, I love chairs.
You love chairs?
I love chairs. Just little things, little mundane things that are so beautiful to me.
That's awesome. You know, Saad, whenever we talk to an artist, it always blows our mind, doesn't it? The kind of things that influences them.
Yes.
Like, if someone told you, I love chairs, what would you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. Because they say that and they mean it actually. So I think artists, they look, they take our attention to something that most people overlook. And this is something I talk about, the presence or the attention and the meaning. Tell us, Yasmeen, about that.
Like, tell us about how you intend to see the things that people overlook.
How I tend to see the things I overlook.
Just as an artist, like for instance, you love chairs. Why do you love chairs?
Because
you love chairs too? Am I missing something here, guys?
Do you not love chairs?
I mean, chairs are chairs. I don't think too much about them. I just like to sit in them, I guess. I love sitting.
They're designed by humans for humans. It's so human. Like it's a human design. Like it's perfect. They're perfect. Chairs, perfect. Yeah. But in general, typography and all these things, the cars, they're beautiful. They're designed by humans for us, and they, like, humans intentionally make them beautiful. You know what I mean? Like it's no, I'm seeing it, but I'm just like amazed because to me, a chair, I would never think about it. I'd be like, is it comfortable or not? That's the main thing I go with, you know? So what's a weird, beautiful thing for you?
I love light. I love seeing how light catches on things, the reflections of stuff. I love looking at the clouds a lot, and I'm big on flowers and nature. Like, I'm kind of known amongst my friends that I love taking photos. So I'll go walking in a park, I'll go anywhere, and they'll get annoyed with me because I'll stop to take a photo of every single flower that I see. And then they'll be like, wow, how'd you take such a good photo? And I'm like, I just love flowers. So I guess it's something like that. But I guess I like the more ethereal things, you could say, than the more practical stuff. But I think now, after speaking to you guys, I'm going to pay attention to chairs more and maybe other furniture. I do love mugs. I think mugs are deeply personal.
Agree.
Yeah.
You have to choose them. Yeah.
I actually wrote a thing on it in uni once about how mugs are a piece of home you can leave in people's houses.
Oh.
Yeah, because if you have a mug somewhere, it's kind of like a piece of you, and if you have it in someone's house, it's like that's your home too. So I guess I can kind of see where you're coming from. So that's really cool.
And I think that chairs more artistic. I think Yasmeen agrees with me because I think the waiting rooms in maybe the dentist or some places, they have good chairs.
I agree.
Yeah.
Dentist waiting rooms are cool.
You want to wait longer.
Yeah.
It seems we're going to have to do like to the people backstage. We might have to do a whole episode on chairs or something because I'm missing on some information. Need to talk to a chair expert, and we can bring Yasmeen to consult on the artisticness of the chairs. But I love that. See, that's the beauty of arts and artists. You guys will see things in the mundane, things that people will rarely notice, and that's something about why we need art, why we need people like you, because people like you are what allow people to see things that they may not see every day. And I just want to ask you one final thing. For someone who, let's say, loves the arts and want to pursue it, but is also using a scientific field, what would you say about someone who is in both fields, but is unsure about how to pursue the arts? Like, do you have any advice for them?
I think the first thing I would internalize is knowing that you don't have to be one thing and that you can be multiple things. So that's my first thing. And just make your art accessible if you do decide to follow a STEM pathway. Like I carry a pocket journal, I take pictures, and my paints are everywhere just to make sure that they're in front of me and I can access them. So you don't have to define yourself to one thing, and you can do whatever you want to do. Keep practicing.
I think that's amazing advice and a wonderful way to end the segment. What do you think, Saad?
I think I agree with Yasmeen. Of course, this is the mission of an artist, to talk about the small details about life and to talk about chairs. And I think this is the main subject today, talking about chairs. Actually, chairs tend to be more artistic than mugs. I'm sorry, Lujay.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's subjective, right? That's what art's all about. So I guess the viewers can decide for themselves and to just pay attention to the little things. And I want to thank you for joining us today. It was wonderful to talk to you and see your perspective on things. It was so refreshing.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. And we are going to go on a short break, so stay tuned. And so that was the end of our segment with Yasmeen. And Saad, I don't know about you, but I thought talking to her was a breath of fresh air because her perspective on things was so unique. And I feel like we need more of that in the world.
Actually, I like the subject about how to talk about chairs. It's not that because we love to sit down. Actually, it's nice to sit down, actually, but this item, especially in the house. When you see a chair, especially the old-fashioned one with the from wood, it's not like the new age chairs. This is what I like, and mixing this with art can provide something very, very special.
Well, to me, it was something that blew my mind a little bit because I love chairs, but I never thought so much about their design, how artistic they are, or these other little things. But I think that goes to show how much an artist sees in the everyday life. And especially with Yasmeen, I think that's how her mind works. Yes. She sees the beauty in the mundane. She sees the beauty in little things that people will just kind of disregard as everyday furniture.
Yeah, I think, and this is the hint of craziness, especially. And I'm not talking about Yasmeen, I'm talking about artists.
Yeah.
When you have something, a hint of crazy, or maybe it's not a mental dysfunction, it's something genius actually to have this. And I think Yasmeen, she's still young for that, and she will keep going. And she will provide something for her and for us as a community.
You're right. She's been doing this her whole life. She loved art as a kid. She saw the wonder and magic in it.
Yes.
And she's managed to continue it even with a degree with like psychology, which she's still studying. And I love to see how the influence of psychology as a degree also helped her with her art, because it helps you understand human emotions a lot more.
Yes.
And the fact that she was able to use her self-portraits to kind of figure out that dynamic, it's really unique. And I loved her idea of the pocket journal as well. I think more people should do stuff like that just to remind themselves of how there's beauty everywhere.
Yes, this is the artist's draft, let's say, because they sketch something or they have something already with them. It will give them later on something to make an art piece. And this is what Yasmeen is doing, actually.
I agree. And I think, I'm sure the viewers will agree as well, that they should now maybe check out their chairs at home and see where the art is. And if not chairs, then every other little thing in life. Because the beauty, mugs, well, I love mugs. That's just me, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe you should focus on your own mugs now, Saad, you know.
I love coffee. You hate, you don't drink coffee.
No, but I drink tea. I'm a big tea person.
Oh, okay.
You can drink anything in a mug, really. Water, juice. I mean, why limit yourself?
Hot beverages only.
No, you can do cold if you want. Go out of the box. I think Yasmeen would agree with me with that, you know?
Yeah.
And with that, I think that is all we have for today. And I hope the viewer just remembers to find the magic in everyday life. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.